The VCT Masters Shanghai Swiss stage is now over. We are heading into the playoff stage, and it's time for me to do my pick'ems and predictions for how the playoff stage is going to go. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we are doing my playoff bracket for VCT Masters Shanghai. So this is the bracket that we have. We have 4 matches in the upper quarterfinals, and it is a double elimination bracket. We will be starting from top to bottom. Also, for returning viewers, I know my hair isn't usually like this. It is too long to gel the way I want it, so I'm just letting it hang. So I got a comment saying I was slowly turning into Wolverine. I know Wolverine usually does this, but, you know, blonde hair, maybe it's similar. So starting with Paper X versus G2, Paper X of course being the top seed, we're able to pick their opponent. And these are 2 very talented teams, but definitely with different expectations. G2, the tier 2 roster of the Guard last year, making its way into franchising, looking to really prove itself on the international stage. This tournament has already gone better than them than their very first international back in 2021, where they lost both their matches. They were able to get out of the Swiss stage without dropping a game, so very impressive work by them so far. But Paper X, they're the top seed. They're a very talented team. I believe they actually were one of the ones that took out G2 in that Reykjavik tournament. And they are a team that is expected to be good enough to win an international tournament. Is this the tournament where it finally happens? Fans of Paper X would hope so, and while G2 is a pretty good opponent, I do think Paper X made the right choice by picking them. Moving on, we have Edward Gaming versus Team Heretics. EDG is, of course, the hometown team. They are the only Chinese team left in this tournament, so Boostia was right in his prediction. And Team Heretics are a very talented EMEA team. They are missing one of their best players in Miniboo, but it still looks like they're very good and set up for success for this tournament. Woot has been fantastic, and Patatek has been good when called upon. So when comparing the talent of these 2 teams, it might be closer than some people think. It is kind of tough to call how good EDG are going to be at this tournament, because at every international, or their last like 2 or 3 internationals, they have placed 5th to 6th. So if that pattern continues, then they should at least win one of their matches. And is it going to be against Team Heretics? EDG had a choice between Team Heretics or Gen G, and definitely Team Heretics is probably the better pick, because Gen G are a very good team that could very well win this tournament as well. But honestly, I do think that Team Heretics would be able to pull up the upset. I do think they can beat EDG. I don't know if I see EDG going super far in this tournament, but I do think that they can beat Heretics, but I do think Heretics are a better team. So moving on to 100 Thieves versus Foot. Foot, of course, being one of the other EMEA teams left in this tournament. And 100 Thieves, the top seed in Americas, looking much better during Stage 1 and during the playoffs in the Americas than they did at kickoff. The improvement that we've seen in this team has been spectacular, and Foot definitely a similar story, looking much better than how they did at the beginning of the year, and they were able to make it out of the Swiss stage, kind of stumbling their way in, but they were able to beat Leviathan, a team with some very top tier talent in OSPAS. So they have proven that they can perform against some pretty high tier talent, and we've also seen in past tournaments where top seeds that already have that playoff bye, where they're not playing in the first part of the tournament, we've seen them not be as ready for some high tier competition as the teams that made it out of the, it used to be just groups, but now it's Swiss, because these teams in the Swiss stage are already ready. They're already mid tournament, so they've been playing for a bit, so a lot more warmed up. A great example of this is Loud in Tokyo last year. They were the top seed in the Americas, and then they didn't even win a map. So if that happens to EDG against Team Heretics, can that happen against 100 Thieves versus Foot? I think so, but I do think 100 Thieves are going to be very prepared for Foot. I think Busio is going to make sure that this team is ready to go. I do think it ends up being closer than maybe people think it's going to be, but I do see 100 Thieves as being able to take that one. Now we have Fnatic versus Gen G. Now this is a pretty heavyweight battle. Fnatic are a team that won 2 international trophies last year and got pretty close at Champions, and then weren't able to qualify for Madrid in what was a pretty embarrassing collapse. And after a pretty rocky Stage 1, they finally found their footing in the playoff stage and were able to take the top seed. So are they going to be able to carry that improvement into this bracket? And Gen G is a team that at Madrid got very close to taking home the first trophy for the Pacific region, of course losing out to Sentinels in 2nd place. They were able to get out of Swiss stage without dropping a map, so it was pretty impressive work. And Fnatic, they're going to be a tough out. I know people don't believe in this team as much as they did in the past, and I understand why, but they were still able to take the top seed. Unfortunately, I do think Gen G are going to win this one. I think Fnatic do start off the bracket with a loss. It's just going to be tough against a team in Gen G that is, as I said, already mid-tournament. They're already in form. Fnatic have been sitting and waiting. Not that they're not preparing, but we've seen that their preparation can be kind of iffy at times this year. And Gen G are an incredibly talented team that have been battling their way through the Swiss stage. So I think Gen G are going to be able to take that one. Moving on, next I'll do the upper semifinals. So we have PaperX versus Team Heretics. This is, of course, a rematch from Madrid. PaperX were able to take that one, kind of by the skin of their teeth. But PaperX is a better team. They have Jane back, and they are looking much in form like they did in their 2023 season. And as I previously stated, Team Heretics are without Miniboo. But, as I also said before, they have shown that their other players are stepping up in that absence. So this absolutely will be a clash of titans. I think this is going to be a highly entertaining match, a highly competitive match. But overall, I do think PaperX is going to be able to take this one, and Team Heretics unfortunately move to the lower bracket. Moving on, we have 100 Thieves versus Gen G. This is a tough one as well. Both incredibly talented teams, one team making a way through Swiss, one team the top seed in the region. And while Gen G can't get revenge on Sentinels this tournament, because Sentinels are of course not here, maybe they're looking for a little bit of revenge against any North American team that they find themselves in their way. So while it is going to be a very interesting matchup, I do think that Gen G is going to take this one. 100 Thieves move to the lower bracket. Now moving on to the lower round 1, we have G2 versus EDG. As much as I like G2, as good as I think that they are, and probably a bit underrated, EDG, I don't know if I see them going out this early. Obviously, I have them losing against Team Heretics, but with the tournament being in China, with the crowd behind them, I do think that they can feed off of that. And after probably feeling embarrassed after a loss to Team Heretics, they're probably going to really bring their A game for this one. I do think that EDG are going to be able to take it, and we see them against 100 Thieves. As much as it'll pain me to watch G2 go out early, but I think they can recover. They're still going to get some valuable experience from this tournament. Moving on, we have Fnatic versus Foot Esports, a clash of two EMEA teams. I do think Fnatic is good enough to take that one, so I'm not really going to waste too much time on that. I think they're the better team, and Fnatic, they were able to beat Foot in the playoff stage, in the EMEA playoffs, so I do think that Fnatic, they do have the upper hand. So to keep it in the lower bracket, we have 100 Thieves versus EDG. Busio has been talking a lot of trash about the teams in the China region, so this match would have a lot of emotions behind it, and probably EDG really hoping to prove 100 Thieves wrong. Unfortunately for them, I don't know if they're going to do it. I think 100 Thieves are going to be able to beat EDG, and we see the 5th, 6th place curse continue for EDG. Moving on, we have another EMEA rematch. We have Team Heretics versus Fnatic. These two teams fought each other in the EMEA Stage 1 playoffs twice. Heretics taking the first match, and then Fnatic taking the second. And I do think that Heretics are going to want revenge, and I think that they're going to be able to get it. I think Fnatic are a very good team. It does kind of make me wonder, like, are they really going to go out this early? Even though they don't seem like the Fnatic of years past, it still kind of feels a little bit sus to have them go out against Team Heretics, but Heretics are just very talented. They have a lot of good young players, and they're going to be a good team for a long time, at least that's what I think. Only 4 more matches to predict. We have PaperX versus Gen G in the upper final. This one is tough to call. These two teams have been pretty back and forth during the season. Gen G having the upper hand in the matchup early by taking that top spot out of kickoff, and then also beating them at Madrid. But then as soon as PaperX got Jane back, that matchup turned. PaperX beat them the next 2 times that they face each other. So right now, I believe that they're even. Very tough call, 2 very good teams, but overall, I think PaperX are going to take this one, and they find themselves in yet another grand final. Moving on, we have 100 Thieves versus Team Heretics for the match that gets that team into the lower final. 2 teams with some very young, very fun to watch, very dynamic players. And while I do think it would be an upset, I do think Team Heretics are going to take this one and find themselves in 3rd place. Much like many of these matches, this is also a very tough call, but I think Heretics can do it even without Miniboo. So for lower final, we have Gen G versus Team Heretics. Which team is able to make it to the grand finals and face PaperX? While Team Heretics do excite me as a team full of a lot of really young and very clearly work together, very chemistry-based team, Gen G is a team that maybe isn't looking as better as they did at the beginning of the year, and at Madrid, they are still incredibly talented. So while a match like this might be closer than some people would expect it to be, I will take Gen G for this one, and we have a confirmed Pacific Trophy this time. Listen, if there's any tournament for it to happen, I think Shanghai is potentially the one. So now it just comes down to which team will take that first Pacific Trophy. And while I could see both of these teams doing it, and Gen G losing a 2nd grand final in a row doesn't seem like something that should happen, I do think that PaperX finally get that trophy, they become the very first Pacific team to win an international event. So this is my bracket. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of my bracket and how your bracket went as well. Who are you picking to win? Why am I Ron? Why am I a stupid idiot? Let me know. Please click like if you enjoyed this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.